It's Altered Geek Unlimited. Featuring Steve Megatron Phillips, TFG1 Mike, Mike the Birdman Dodd, and now your host, Steve Megatron Phillips. Hello and welcome to Altered Geek Unlimited, episode 78. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me this week is...
TFG1 Mike.
Mike the Birdman Dodd.
We are here. We are waiting.
Right.
Oh, that's a bad prime line.
The prophecy has been fulfilled. All of us are here. Like we
So-
are every week. It's a really easy, self-fulfilling prophecy.
At least Steve didn't lead with the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Well, there's always the one.
Yeah.
Doo-doo-ch.
I have a huge headache this week.
I have a huge something else this week, but we
Yeah.
won't talk about that.
No.
We don't want to know about what's going on.
In my
really?
never mind.
Yes.
In the bird cage, we'll call
The
it.
vague is better. It leaves people wondering what you're talking about because it could be dirty or not.
Exactly. It could be a giant Cadbury cream egg, or it could be a huge erection. You don't know. Perhaps both.
So I am under the belief that The Interview is the worst film in history.
Okay, it's not that bad. I saw it. I actually paid for it. I downloaded it on Xbox Live around Christmas time. I didn't watch it for 2 weeks because I was like, I'll watch it tomorrow. I'll watch it tomorrow. I'll watch it tomorrow. And then I get a notification from Xbox. Your rental will expire in 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shit. I guess I got nothing else to do. I thought it was okay. I mean, it's not their best comedy together. I mean, Rogan and Franco.
Mm.
But I don't see any reason why North Korea would get that pissed off about it. I thought it was pretty funny. It's just not it. It's the kind of movie you see once because all the jokes won't be that funny a second time round. And like I said, it's okay at best. Maybe I give it a 6 out of 7, maybe 6.5. There are some pretty funny parts in it, but other than that, it's just kind of. I should have done a Pineapple Express 2 or something.
All right, I'll be completely honest. The only reason why I even watched it was two things. My mom was curious about it because of the controversy and everything
Yeah, the
else.
hype, yeah.
And the hype, yeah. And my good friends over at La La Land Records sent me the soundtrack to review. And I'm one of these people that I need to watch the thing that the music is in. I need to see it in its original medium to see how well it plays with whatever it's going up against instead of just listening to it. And it's one of those things where we both sat here for 25 minutes and the whole time I'm hitting my head against my desk. And the first 25 minutes is just to the point where the CIA shows up and says, you need to go assassinate this guy. I couldn't even get...
sit through it. Force yourself to sit through it, because once they get to North Korea, it does get pretty funny. But I think Rogan carries it. Franco's got some good moments in it, but I think Rogan was the true star of that.
Franco just annoys me to all hell in this movie.
He flows between doing really good stuff and really fucking dumb.
Yeah.
I think he's one of those actors where he literally just throws darts at a board and it's like, I want to do this today. Because he's got more money than God, so he can afford to do that.
I mean, and I know everyone hates this movie, and I know it's one of the worst movies that most people will put on a worst movie list, but the two films that I've seen him in that I think are halfway decent as far as what he did in them is Spider-Man 3 and Oz the Great and Powerful.
I think he was underutilized in Spider-Man 3, or he wasn't used properly.
Well, yeah, it's Spider-Man 3. There's 20 villains in it.
Well, you know what's what's weird? I actually kind of like Spider-Man 3, and I know that's a vastly unpopular opinion. I find that movie gets better with age. It's a guilty pleasure flick for me. It's kind of like me and Showgirls. It's a terrible fucking movie. Oh, no doubt about it. But I kind of like it. If I'm really bored, I want to consume cinematic garbage. You know what it is? It's a greasy burger at 4 o'clock in the morning when I've been drinking. That's what that movie is to me. It's something so bad I shouldn't have it, and I'm not going to tell anyone that I did.
You just told everybody.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Rogan, he does some really good work when he has the right script and the right director. I really like his humor. Franco, I like him when he's more serious.
Yeah, when he plays a serious role, he's actually really good.
Yeah, like, he can really knock it out of the park. When he's with his comedy, I don't know. Like, he's got a really good natural comedic timing to him, but I don't know. This one, it felt more forced than it should have in the interview. Because I like, there's just something about him, it doesn't feel as genuine, whereas Rogan, I felt, was more, I don't know, believable, I guess? I don't know. Mind you, I've worked in newsrooms, or I've had people like that, where it's all about the integrity and all that shit, which is great. I love that. But I've also encountered the fame sluts, too. Myself being one of them. I think people should give it a watch, but do not go in expecting a political satire. It's a fart comedy that happens to have North Korea in it.
It's kind of like, yeah, I mean, and I know Steve is probably, hitting his head against his own desk, but the last thing I'll say about it is, it's kind of like, what if, and at least to me, it's kind of like, what if Kevin Smith made a film that ended up being rated X? Or rated NC-17 or something. It just, I don't know, it was just too weird for me.
I don't know, you bring up a really weird thought. I'm about to say, what would happen if Smith got involved in that movie in some capacity? Because I like, when Smith tries, some of his movies are really good, but some at their core are also kind of stupid. But that's a topic for a different day.
Yep.
So I have some exciting news to share.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Got really bored on this past President's Day, Family Day in Ontario, Canada. Well, it's weird. We didn't have a stat holiday in February, so the government made one up. So, you can spend a day home with your kids. It's the wintertime. Go out and play in the snow. It was minus 40 degrees, so fuck that noise. But you guys have heard of Sideshow Collectibles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, so they decide they email in the morning their newsletter, right? Normally it goes right in the trash. I'm up early because I hate my life, and I'd read it and like tweet along with us and win Avengers prizes. I'm like, all right, sure, whatever. So do it. They have a contest where you have to enter your best Asgardian insult on Twitter and use the hashtag Sideshow Avengers. So I just pulled. This sounds like something Thor might say. I'll throw a little bit of a D&D spin on it, and whatever. I'll just put it out there into the void.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow I won a Hot Toys Thor the Dark World Thor.
Cool.
Now I have my
Nice.
very own tiny Chris Hemsworth in my house, or I will in like a month.
So you can say you actually play with Chris Hemsworth.
I can. Oh my god, I can do really embarrassing things to him. What a great idea. And you know what's weird? I actually have this really weird history with Thor because when I was on Comic Book Men, I sold Chris Hemsworth to Walt and the guys, and now I
I remember that.
Chris Hemsworth in my house.
See,
So I'm like, all
you're
right,
his
guys.
pimp.
I like Thor now. I guess I'll buy the books. God, I get the hint.
So wait. Let me just get this straight. You sold a Thor on Comic Book Men. You won another
Thor comes
Thor,
back.
and Thor comes back. So now for season 4 or 5, wherever Comic Book Men is, you're going to go back up there and sell it again, right?
Either that, or I have to go to the next level show and try to go to Pawn Stars or something. So
Oh,
I don't know.
jeez.
That's really fucking weird.
He's going to come to
Thor's in my
Detroit and
life.
get mugged.
He's going to go on hardcore Pawn. That's right.
There you go. Come on, guys. I got a Thor.
Oh,
Although,
God.
legit, if Chris Hemsworth ever does, like, Toronto Fan Expo or something, I may legit try and get it signed. Because you know what? If I keep having Thor in my life in this capacity, I think that's a sign maybe I should start reading the books. So, I guess for the glory of the 9 realms, thank you.
One other thing before we get to the main topic and before I let Steve take his show back here, I did want to bring up, since the news has been out for a while, but something amazing is going to happen in Canada later this year. For the I assume this is the first time ever, but TFCon Canada will have a hero, a leader, a legend.
Oh, that's right. Peter Cullen's coming.
The voice of Optimus Prime, Peter Cullen at TFCon Toronto 2015.
I want to say he was here a couple of years ago, but maybe I'm thinking of Gary Chalk.
Gary Chalk.
Yeah, Gary Chalk is at TFCon all the time.
Peter Cullen's been at BotCon the last few years.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Which I'm really glad TFCon is happening the week before Con Bravo, so we don't have conflicting dates anymore.
Right.
But I'm kind of tempted to go just to say, hey man, you're fucking awesome, and please record my voicemail.
I want to go. I just need somebody to pay for my freaking hotel room.
Dude, I'm trying to think. You could stay with us if you just come by yourself. I only live an hour outside Toronto. You are more than welcome to crash here. That is an open invitation.
Yeah, it's unfortunately I'm going to have.
It's just gas money. I'll get you a media pass.
No, it's not that. It's the
fact that
my wife wants a vacation too.
She wants a vacation, and they'll have 2 children running around the house by July 17th of 2015.
Hey, 2 words, cryostasis, I'm just saying.
No.
It's just wrong on so many levels.
I don't know. If I was told, you can be your hero, but you have to bring your wife and kids, I'd be thinking, cryostasis or perhaps a freezer.
I'm not saying that Peter Cullen wouldn't be awesome to meet, but I would rather meet David Kaye, as stupid as that sounds, or actually Frank Welker.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to go back in time and resurrect Scatman Carruthers.
You know, that's why they call the character Jazz?
Yeah. Actually, who voiced Blaster?
Buster Jones.
Is he still alive?
Buster Jones.
No, he's gone.
No, he's alive.
Oh, I'm thinking somebody else then.
Buster
to meet, or Michael Bell, the guy that did Tracks.
Yep.
He was Duke.
Maybe Greg Berger, because Grimlock is fucking sick.
Yeah.
Wow, we've derailed this conversation again.
So anyways.
Oh my god, ToyFare. Did you guys see that Combiner Wars Devastator?
It's supposed to be the biggest Transformer combiner ever.
I have friends at Hasbro. I am going to bug the shit out of them for this. Although on that, I don't think Defensor looks as cool as Devastator.
No.
Yeah, Devastator
kind of sucks.
And I do have to correct myself. Buster sadly did pass away September of last year.
Told
God
you.
damn it.
Yeah.
I thought I was right. Not that
I
I'm proud
really
of
kind of
that.
wish they'd done Superion, though, instead of Defensor, but I guess it's easier to make vehicles instead of airplanes, maybe?
They'll do... Depending on the, and you know this, depending on the sales of Devastator and Defensor and all that stuff, I'm sure they'll get around to doing...
Oh my god, you know how cool fucking Menasor is going to be?
Yep.
Oh my god, I'm not going to lie, Nerd Chub, right now, when I just thought about that.
Oh god.
Computron would be so cool. Transformers fans, buy the shit out of these. Don't scalp them, but buy them. Speaking of ToyFare, I found out potentially one of my favorite Ninja Turtles lines is not coming back. Sucks.
Which one?
The Super Articulated Classics line.
Are you... What?
Yeah, I know. Pixel Dan was talking with them, and he says they have no plans to continue the line. And I want to say, because there was that Shredder and Krang we saw, wasn't there?
Yeah.
It was like a prototype. I'm thinking, God damn, I want that. But I
so
guess
they're not going to release those?
I don't think so. I mean, if they did them as a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, they would sell out so fucking fast.
I want that Krang like no other.
Yeah, like it looks so legit.
I
And
I would pay
yeah,
upwards to $60 to get that fucker because I want it
it
so bad.
sucks. And like I was so surprised to hear that because like I talked with some people over at Playmates, including their chief turtle officer Carl Aroni. I'm thinking, dude, keep this line going. Like if we got a super articulated Shredder and Krang, maybe an April as like a Comic Con exclusive because face it, she might only be a character that only hardcore people might buy,
Mhm.
which
Hmm.
sucks to say. That's not being sexist.
No,
And
yeah, you're
maybe
right.
and then maybe do a super articulated Baxter Stockman with like the big wings and everything, the bug eyes. That would be so cool. But now, alas, other things I saw at ToyFare that were kind of cool. They have this awesome. It's from Hasbro. It's this giant interactive Hulkbuster.
Hmm.
That thing looks so bitchin'. There's no articulation whatsoever because it's just this big
They
burly.
do have a for the I believe it's I think I'm looking at the right thing. The Toy Fair, they have like the DeLorean, they have the Enterprise A and the Excelsior, they have like Ghostbusters articulated.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
like there's so many cool properties coming out this year. In fact, one of I'm actually going to be reviewing this toy this week on Nerd News. So later today, when you hear this episode, they did that Legends of Cthulhu toy line. They got a prototype of the 12-inch call or the of Great Cthulhu himself. It looks like it'd be in scale with the Inhumanoids toys from the 80s, like those really cool looking monsters. And whoever sculpted that is a bloody credit to his art. Like that's some seriously great sculpting on it. I think that'll be available later this year for like $100. Totally worth it. Gonna save up my pennies to buy that sucker. I know I said I was out of toy collecting, but that's great Cthulhu. The stars are right. So,
well,
um,
they also have a bunch of like uh, what is it? They have a bunch of Batman the animated series type. They have like the bus of them as well,
yeah,
and then they have um, some more of the articulated figures kind of
I
thing.
didn't get a chance to look at any of the DC stuff, which kind of sucks. I mean, who do they have now, or who's going to be available?
I actually watched the Pixel Dan video for this. For the BTAS stuff, they are going back and giving you the actual BTAS designed Batman. They originally did the New Adventures style. They're
Oh,
going to give you
good.
the basically what the guy said to Pixel Dan was, we're trying to do and impress all the fans, whether it's the regular BTAS first 92 to 95 series or if it's new advent. They're basically going to try to do everything. The ones I saw were the actual BTAS style Batman, Mask of the Phantasm. Uh, what else
Robin.
was there? Yeah, I'm sure there was a Robin. But pretty much the three things that were like hit on were the the BTAS style Batman, the Phantasm from Mask of the Phantasm, and Steve, take it away with the vehicle.
They have a 24-inch Batmobile.
Oh, cool. Impractically big, but cool.
It fits those figures in them.
That's really sick. I love the fact that they're doing collector scale vehicles. Like that's, I mean, imagine if they did that with Star Wars stuff, which that was surprisingly absent. Like they
I'm pretty
announced like
sure.
nothing on Star Wars.
I'm pretty sure we talked about those some of those Batman figures and the car last week, though.
Yeah, yeah. But now we've
Um,
got a better look at them.
yeah. So it's kind of cool. Um, so, anyways, before we got derailed, um, what I've been up to this week is I had to. We're still practicing our lines for the acting stuff we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just dropped on us today that, oh, we have to find a scene, could be from anything, and we had to pick new scene partners for that, and basically going to memorize and do that too. So I'm going to try and swing for movies because as long as you have like a two-pager from a movie of lines, you're good. So that, and I can, if it's one I'm familiar with, I won't have a problem memorizing the lines. So there's that, and then I was working on a side graphic design project, which I'm still waiting to hear back on. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Anything else going on for you guys before we jump into regular show?
I think of what else. I've become the ultimate troll on Call of Duty.
That does not surprise me.
Oh, well, here's the thing. I don't use a mic because I don't want to be that asshole. But there's a guy on YouTube named Kostef. He's the manager for Team Caliber, a esports team, and he does these videos where he just harasses people, not like calling them racist names or anything, just does stuff in game. One of his favorite things to do, there's a mode in COD called Gun Game. Each time you get a kill, you get a successively better gun. Until you cycle through all of them, first to 20 points wins normally, right? But if you are knifed, you go back to the previous gun. So, imagine how much fun it is to run up to people and just knife them. I did that last night, and I pissed off the most people from England and some random hillbilly dude like you wouldn't believe. They were like, I hate you, Birdman, stop doing that. And I just ran around the map for like the 10-minute match just punching people. I ended up with more kills than 90% of them, and I still finished in like the top 5. I am an asshole.
We already knew that. No,
Yeah. Although it makes Blair, like, she'll go into hysterics just listening to people react to what I'm doing. And how I know I'm getting to them is after the match, they'll leave the lobby. I don't normally encourage this behavior, but I think you're allowed to have a little bit of fun with this sort of thing. I mean, I don't do it super often, because eventually you'll run across a hacker or someone who will report you for being a douchebag. But that was some fun I randomly had late last night, and I was very much inspired by this Kostef guy. I thought it was hilarious. The one guy in his video that kind of inspired me, it's his latest one, this guy threatens to sue him on Judge Judy. And evidently, according to this guy, 4 plus 3 is not 7. And bachelor's degrees do not exist. It's pretty friggin' hilarious. You see just how dumb certain people are on Xbox Live. That's part of the reason why I do it, too, because I'm hoping I'll just get that one special idiot. And French people are really surprisingly mad. I found that out, too.
well, that's what happens when you
When they run out of French fries and baguettes, I guess? I don't know.
No, yeah.
You have
They don't want you talking about their wee.
I'm sorry we took Jerry Lewis, man. Jesus. 50 years ago. Let it
go. I know you basically live your life online, Mike, but some of the things you talk about in your personal life that usually you don't say on Twitter, it's like, oh my God.
Sometimes I like being a jerk. Or, I do not encourage this behavior, but when you hear some guy freak out because you punched him, it's kind of funny. Anyway, we should get back to the main topic.
Alrighty. One of the fun things that came out this week, Honest Trailers came out with Dumb and Dumber 2.
Yeah. The sequel that's about 20 years too late.
Yeah, well, they said it seemed like it was written 3 years after the original. And then they just saved the script in a storage facility until now.
Yep. Kept in like a friggin' shoebox. That sucks too, because I remember when the Farrelly brothers were really, really funny. And
in
then,
the 90s?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, it's 2000 something. Welcome to Sucksville.
Yeah, I wanted to like that movie, Something Terrible. That movie was extremely bad.
It's just pain and sadness.
It was very bad. I was very disappointed watching it, but I mean it was all right, but it's not you could tell they were trying way too damn hard, and then they just look so freaking old.
Which sucks
Pulling
because
up.
isn't Jeff Daniels the same guy from the Newsroom?
Yes.
He looks amazing in the Newsroom. He looks like shit here.
Well, they aged him and made him look like a nut in this.
My god.
He looks terrible in this. Jim Carrey doesn't look much different, but the fart and dick jokes that were written for him in this were extremely bad too. So, and then they just kind of recycled a lot of the first film,
which is really terrible. But then again, what could you really do with these characters? And I don't know. That's always the thing when making a sequel to a comedy. How do you top the original? I want to say I heard this somewhere else, but follow me here, guys. What comedy sequel is better than the original? Like, really think about that for a minute. Like, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Police Academy 3.
Okay. Okay, all right. What else? Can you name 5?
No.
Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls.
No!
No!
Come on now, Steve. I know.
It is to me.
The Rhino was pretty funny.
Well, and then, you must be the Monopoly guy. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Oh man, like I'm really thinking here. Okay, I was gonna say 22 Jump Street, but they're both pretty good. I'm trying to think which one's
Yeah,
better.
that's kind of a knock out of the park because it's making fun of itself from, a reboot of a TV series. So
Okay, I've got one.
I think Beverly Hills Cop 2 is funnier than the original movie.
Yes, I'll give you that one. Okay,
don't get me wrong. Beverly Hills Cop is funny. There are some funny scenes in it, but the second movie,
the best.
2 is the best because you have Gilbert Gottfried as Sidney Bernstein. You have Judge Reinhold and his whole thing about
Rambo collection.
Oh yeah, the Rambo collection, and his pet turtle, Big Al. God. Honestly, just the sheer fact that they put the Playboy Mansion and Hugh Hefner in that makes it better than the first one.
I think what I liked about that one is it moved along so much quicker. It didn't take itself super serious.
No.
Like it was just funnier, I thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, so we have 3 movies between us. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's with Dumb and Dumber 2. You gotta strike when the iron's hot. I mean, it kind of makes me think of Sin City. When that movie came out, it was cool. It was awesome as shit. And then you wait 10 plus years to release the sequel and no one cares. This was the problem with Dumb and Dumber 2.
Well, that's the problem with a lot of sequels, like coming back 10, 20 years after the fact, like they're trying to do with Beverly Hills Cop 4 and, the Die Hard and so on. I mean, it's just...
Well, but Die Hard's been an ongoing franchise. They've had a few movies every couple of years after...
Couple of years? There's been jumps of, like, anywhere from 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, because there was Die Hard...
Between the last two, there wasn't that much of a jump.
Well, it's because Bruce Willis needs car payments. I'm trying to think.
Bruce Willis needs an easily phoned-in job.
That's what the Expendables is for. Don't get me wrong, folks. I love the Expendables movies, but honestly, that's really what those movies are about.
You know what? It's just them getting together, hanging out with stuntmen for like 3 weeks. But still, I mean, although the second of that movie is the best of the entire trilogy, I think.
Yeah.
Mostly because of Jean-Claude Van Damme. But
and Mel Gibson's not in it.
No Mel Gibson.
Come on, okay.
Cool idea with his character, though.
Come on, guys. Mel Gibson was not the worst thing about Expendables 3. I mean, he was probably one of the best things about that movie.
Coming this summer, in place of Expendables 4, grumpier old-ass men.
Oh, no. In place of Expendables 4, they're going to have the Expendables and turn it all female.
That could be really cool, though. I mean, if you got, like, Michelle Rodriguez, the chick from The Fifth Element, Mila Jovovich.
The chick from The Fifth Element does things other than Resident Evil movies now?
No.
Yeah.
No, she did The Fourth Kind, to be fair, but I guess
She did another
was
movie,
a car
the
payment.
Perfect Getaway.
Okay, who else could be in the Expendables? That the chick from Agents of Shield.
Adrian Palicki.
The Chinese woman. I can't think of her name.
Ah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I know the
Dylan
character's
plays
name, but I
Agent
can't think
May.
of hers now. I'm trying to think of who else was like a tough. Maybe Bridget Nielsen if she's not dead.
No, she could not be.
Well, she ends up in Celebrity Rehab like every 3 or 4 seasons or something.
They should just make a live-action celebrity death match.
Yes. My God, that would
And that'll be the way to vote them off the island. They'll just kill them.
be amazing.
You
Battle
fail.
Royale, but with all the action stars of ever. My God.
And they'll just end it with,
You failed this country.
The only survivor, because it has to be, is Chuck Norris.
that reminds me of the clip of the Ultimate Showdown of Ultimate Destiny.
Exactly. You know what's weird? I actually just heard that song again, but the first time in like 10 years, it randomly came up on my iTunes. Like, my God.
Speaking of things that just randomly come up, Sprint's got this new commercial, and it says, "What is better than $50 a month for unlimited?" It says narwhals, and then it was just a blank screen, and it says narwhals, and then I just started laughing, and my wife's like, "What?" And then it goes, "Narwhals, living in the ocean," and then it's like. And then it just brought back Beast Unleashed jokes between me and Michael Wilson.
Yeah.
And I just was laughing there, like cackling, and they cut off the commercial right before it says Kick-Ass Unicorn.
That's so...
Or Kick-Ass Facial Horn
random.
or whatever.
See, that proves our generation is finally moving into marketing now. We're getting rid of the old dudes, which I guess is why Skeletor was selling cars around Christmas time. I want Voltron to sell me a taco. It'll happen.
Peter Cullen going,
This is the
My
legend.
God,
The
would Peter
legend
Cullen not be the
of
best voice for State Farm Insurance? What better guy? I'm sorry, Dennis Haybird, President Palmer. You pale in comparison to the leader of the Autobots. He's selling me car insurance. I'll believe him.
Well, you should believe him because he does. He used to on the Allstate commercials.
He was the Allstate guy?
Yeah, for the longest time.
I guess we don't get those in Canada, but my
Dennis
God, that's so
Haysbert.
cool.
Yeah. You know what I just found out? Friggin' Lex Luthor is the voice of Chevy. Clancy Brown is the voice of Chevy.
I thought that was. Kurgan's trying to sell me a Chevy. That's awesome.
Since we did mention the Expendables, I did try to find out information on the Expendables because it is something that was supposed to happen. It is supposedly still happening, but apparently there are also plans for 4 and 5 of the male version of the franchise. So,
have they announced any casting or who they want?
Let me see. Your hero there, JCVD, confirmed that he wants to be in the 4th film, but it doesn't say that he is in the 4th film.
Like, didn't his character die? Well, I guess he can just play a different dude, so...
Yeah.
He could be that guy's brother or something. Or former brother's roommate.
"Oh my God, this is horrible."
I know this is horrible, Steve, but can you imagine if JCVD didn't return, but they got Jeremy Irons to play his brother? It would be Die Hard all over again.
I want Jeremy Irons to do it, but he has to play the same character he played from the D&D movie. He's like, ha da 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 da. It'd be amazing.
No, I was referring to something else. It's just horrible.
What was you referring to?
I don't even know if I want to bring it up.
Come on,
but...
go ahead.
Now you have to, Steve.
So on Facebook, I'm trying to figure out. This is horrible. Ian Kennelly or whatever.
Yeah.
One of our fans and friends or whatever. He tagged me and Michael Wilson in this, and it's like this unspoken rules of sex or whatever from Playboy or something. I don't know why he tagged us in this, but he says number 17 made me laugh so hard, and then it says and I was trying to figure out what the hell it was. It says, when switching from any position to doggy style, do not yell beast mode. I was like, that's horrible. That's why I said I wasn't sure I wanted to even bring it up, but it was just bad. And there's utter silence.
Yes, that's usually what they're... Yeah, Dodd doesn't get it, but yeah.
It's a Beast Wars joke, but whenever they're switching modes, they go beast mode.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of transform, it's just horrible.
I haven't seen that. I haven't watched Beast Wars in, like, years. I need to do that again.
Listen to the Beast Unleashed podcast while you do it. Only because there's some really informative pieces to the show, and there's some very graphic jokes.
Yeah.
Just leave it at that.
Yeah.
My mind went to a very dark place.
It should with that podcast.
Yep, that wasn't the only corner pocket that everybody got stuck into in that one. But I'm moving on.
Thank you.
Yes. So, I think we'll get into the meat and potatoes of the episode. Saturday Night Live turned 40.
Gentlemen, welcome to the Saturday Night Live 40th anniversary special. Justin, wait. Tonight we'll be looking back on some of our favorite moments.
Justin, hold on. Justin, I had this. This is the 40th anniversary of SNL. This is a show that's inspired generations of comedians around the world. I mean, look at all the legends here. I mean,
wow.
Give yourselves a round of applause.
Yeah. All right, that's enough. Yeah, that's enough.
It's actually it's more than enough, actually.
Yeah, a little generous.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I mean, this is a historic night. We're here in Studio 8H.
I mean, yeah, just think of all the amazing sketches and characters and catchphrases that happen right here.
You're talking like Coneheads, Gumby, Jane, you ignorant slut,
Buckwheat, Stefan, we're here to pump you up.
Swing the bears, yeah, that's a ticket. You look marvelous.
Yo, Sully, that's wicked.
The nerds, the bees, and Tooters on the pedal.
Razammer, dana.
Well, isn't that special?
It's a chronic white cult of SNL.
It's a chronic white cult of SNL.
Cheeseburger, and Chevy Chase Fong.
And no one can resist my sweaty ball.
Dana Carvey and Sandler and Farley and Ross. Hey, Justin, what's that?
It's my dick in a box. My dick in a box, baby.
Oh, I'll get that for you, buddy.
Thanks, man. The ambiguously gay duo. Ambiguously gay.
We are two wild and crazy guys eating little chocolate donuts with a samurai. I'm Tina and Damon and Nealon and Miller. I live in a van down by the river.
We come from France.
Oh, don't make me dance.
Simmer down now. Oops. I crap my pants from the Californians.
Back to Mr. Bill. Oh, no!
Bring it on down to SNL.
Sadly, history has taught us that opening the show with a musical number leads to a sharp drop in ratings.
NBC doesn't care about ratings.
They really don't.
Cha-cha, boochie, cha-cha, boochie, roll call. My name is Jimmy, and I am a Virgo. I don't do pot, so check me out.
My name is Justin. I did pot once. It made me cry. So check me out.
So check us out! Sorry, Justin, I'm sorry. Stop.
What's wrong?
I'm not feeling well. I think I have a fever.
Can I get you anything? There's aspirin or water? I mean, we're live.
No. There's only one prescription.
Oh, you mean more cowbell.
I was just gonna say, the sound of cowbells makes me nervous. And sometimes when I get nervous, I stick my fingers under my arms, and I smell them like that.
Superstar! It's time for comedy. It's time to celebrate all the nights we stayed up late. Been 40 years, SNL and comedy, like grits and harmony. All the days of you and me. Been 40 years. We got Chevy and Aykroyd and Jane and Lorraine. Oh look, Garrett and Frank and Hayes, this is insane. We got McCartney and Simon, the joy and the fun. And those are girls from season 1. We got Farrell, O'Terry, Martin times 2, McKinnon and Wick, Eddie Murphy's here too. Hader and Lovitz and Murray and Rock. Wrap it up, wrap it up. And the show's still alive, so we're watching the clock. 40 years, we're doing all right. Live from New York, it's Saturday night!
And I was not aware that when this was going to air until the day of, that there was SNL 40, that they were going to have the anniversary, like a 3-hour special. And they had like the red carpet thing going on an hour before, and then the whole after party and everything else. And they had so many stars and so many like original actors from the show guesting, and a lot of familiar skits or montages of skits, as well as pre-recorded clips from the olden days of certain people. Everything from Dan Aykroyd reenacting his Bassomatic to Celebrity Jeopardy with Will Ferrell, Daryl Hammond, Norm Macdonald, and Jim Carrey in there playing, Sean Connery, Matthew McConaughey, and Burt Reynolds as Turd Ferguson.
Did Adam Sandler come back?
Yes, Adam Sandler did come back. I was kind of surprised at that. He did. They had a whole music montage, and they had Martin Short and Maya Rudolph doing the emceeing of that section of the show, and
That's pretty cool.
they had Kristen Wiig with the other guy that would make up random songs, and they had the church Uptown singer group. I can't remember their exact name, but it's Will Ferrell and the other lady that played Martha Stewart all the time on the show. They were doing it was like Uptown Funk is what they called it, but they were supposed to be doing like pop culture songs or pop songs and reenacting them as if they were in a church. So it was an old skit, but they did like the All About the Bass and all that stuff in there, and it was horrible, but it was funny as hell. So they did that. They did, all those. The Celebrity Jeopardy gets me every time just because I loved that when it was on originally. It's like nothing missed a beat. Then they did the Weekend Update Desk with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler and Jane Curtin, which was it was amazing seeing the three of them doing that. And then they made fun of the fact that people, they would get guests on there and supposed to inform, but they never do. And so the whole special was poking fun at itself while you watched it, but it was also having fun with the clips. Like they had Melissa McCarthy playing Chris Farley.
That was the one thing that I did not like. I didn't even know it was. It's not because I thought it. Not because of Melissa McCarthy. Just in general, I thought that was in poor taste. That was the only.
It's not in poor taste because they're doing tribute to their favorite actors of the show. Because Emma Stone came out and did Gilda Radner.
Yeah, and that was better. I'm sorry, Melissa McCarthy as Chris Farley was just god awful. The guy's probably rolling over in his grave right now.
Just because it offends you doesn't mean it offended everybody else.
Was she at least funny, Steve?
No.
Yeah, she was funny. She played the same type of skit that Chris Farley would have done, yelling at people in their ear, and like the guy with the where he's constantly pulling up his pants and turning and everything, and then where he dives into a coffee table. Normally, she dove into the Weekend Update desk and cracked it in half. So
Nice.
it was, and then Jane Curtin's like, "Don't open the door to Tina Fey." She's like, "There's always a land shark," and she's like, "No, there's not a land shark," and a land shark ate her. And but during the singing part that came on later, they had Steve Martin playing King Tut, and they had the Blues Brothers of Belushi and Aykroyd. They had Adam Sandler do Opera Man.
Oh, look who it is.
Is it Beyonce?
No, you're Beyonce.
Thank you.
Beyonce, no, Beyonce. It's Marty Culp and Bobby Mohan Culp.
Check 1, 2. Check.
What a real hot knife here.
Yeah.
It's a lot of some sonic fuzz. Just
Searing heat bouncing
really
off the
bouncing
sound
off the
system here.
woofers. I think we need to check the woofers.
Yeah.
We feel grossly underdressed. We thought this was going to be business casual.
Wow, lots of A-list middle fingers being shot at us right now.
Sure are.
But you better hold tight, because we're about to flip you the funk bird. 2, 3, 4. Cause Uptown Funk gonna give it to you. Cause Uptown Funk gonna give it to you. And stop! Turn down the what? Turn down the what? Turn down the what?
Here's an inspiring message to all the ladies out there with a little extra junk in your trunk. My mama, she told me, don't worry about your size. She says boys, they like a little more booty to hold nice.
Your mama was right. Because it's all about that bass, about that bass.
No treble.
All about that bass, a juicy bass.
Take me to church.
Girls, hit you hallelujah. Girls, hit you hallelujah. Cause Uptown Funk's gonna give it to you. Cause Uptown Funk's gonna give it to you. It's Saturday night and we're in the spot. Don't believe it, just watch.
Reunion, everybody! Reunion, I didn't hear you! 40th anniversary, such a special day, oh. Garrett Morris looks fantastico. David Spade looks okay, oh. Lorna's gathered us together and no one's getting paid, oh. But Betty White's here, so at least we're all getting laid, oh, you heard me. How'd you get so funky? Did you do the monkey? Born in Arizona. Got a condo made of stoner. King Judge. King Tut, everybody!
Jaws! Get away from me! Jaws! You goddamn Jaws! Won't you leave me as I am? You took me. You took me out of the deep blue. You took and you made me part of you. Now, Jaws, you found someone new. Why? Jaws, why? Wasn't I enough for you?
dance, baby to kiss, a sugar to kiss, sweetheart to miss. I need you and you and you. I need you, in the morning. When my soul is you. Sometimes I feel a little sad inside. When my baby is dreaming, I can't I need you. I need you.
Yep.
which was great. And then like they had a new digital short later on where it was Andy Samberg and Adam Sandler playing their characters from That's My Boy in the digital short, but they did it making fun of all the actors that broke scene laughing.
Yeah.
And the whole song was just poking fun at everybody, and a lot of the references were Jimmy Fallon and Horatio Sands.
Yep.
And they made mention of that. Oh, we've never done that. And Adam Sandler's like, nope, we definitely have. And they showed clips of them doing it, and it was mostly when Farley was involved that Sandler did it. But some of the actors, they had a like little cameo bit pieces in the show, and enough to just kind of show them. And then other ones had a little bit more. They had every Weekend Update male anchor show up for the most part. Well, most of the prominent ones. They didn't have like Dennis Leary and some of the other guys. They had Colin Quinn, Norm Macdonald, Seth Meyer, Kevin Nealon, and Chevy Chase.
Wasn't Dennis Miller there too?
No. I watched the episode twice. I didn't see it.
Okay,
they did play like pre-recorded clips of some of those actors.
Maybe that's what. Yeah. So let me ask you guys, who is your favorite Weekend Update anchor?
Norm
Steve?
Macdonald. There's just something about his deadpan delivery and that sarcastic wit he has to some of his lines.
Well, some of the funny thing with him is if people didn't laugh at the joke, he would just stare at you until you did.
Yeah, see, I love that. That's brilliant, man. I love that.
And I actually did not have a good appreciation for that actor until I saw him play Burt Reynolds, Turd Ferguson in the Celebrity Jeopardy. And then my opinion of him changed because I realized he does more than the Weekend Update desk.
Yeah, ditto, yeah. When you get him in the right roles, he's hilarious. His stand-up routine isn't that funny, but when you get him doing character skits, I think he's great.
Mm-hmm. And the guy that's playing Sean Connery in there also did Bill Clinton, Al Gore, various other, Dick Cheney. That's Daryl Hammond. He's actually the announcer for the show now.
So that's why it was different this time.
Yeah, because didn't the original Saturday Night Live guy die last year?
Yeah, it's been Daryl Hammond doing it this entire season. I think season 40 has been spectacular. It's the first season I've started getting back into since it's come on. There's been it was kind of sporadic. I watched a lot in the 90s and the early 2000s, and then the mid 2000s to the late 2000s. I just quit watching because a lot of it was hit or miss. It was either I didn't remember to watch it and I just didn't bother trying to go back. And then other opportunities, like I caught up a lot on Netflix, and a lot of it was just terrible to me. But I think that season 39, I think that it started picking up again, and then 40 it got a lot better, especially with the guests and the skits, and a lot of the cast that they have now is pretty good. But getting back to the Weekend Update desks, I'm kind of torn because I like most of them that have done the Weekend Update desk. As far as like the current ones that are on there, the two guys that are on there.
Mm-hmm.
And don't crucify me for not knowing their names, but the black guy that's on the desk, I think it's Michael Che or something. He's funny. The white guy's not. I don't think he's very funny. It's like he's almost trying to pull like a Norm Macdonald with his comedy. It's not very good, and that's probably why the only scenes he's in are on the desk.
Right.
But I've watched it since like Nealon was doing it, I've watched it with Colin Quinn, Norm Macdonald, Seth Meyer, Jimmy Fallon. I liked it a lot when Jimmy Fallon did it, but I think Norm Macdonald was probably my favorite out of all of those.
Chevy Chase and Kevin Nealon are my two favorites. I liked it when Jimmy was doing it. Seth Meyer, I don't know.
Seth Meyer, something about him just kind of... I think he's weak by himself.
Yeah.
But when they added... like the Stefan character and various other, the characters that will come on and assist.
Yeah.
Then he was good because he had somebody to play off of, but I think by himself he was terrible.
Didn't he do a couple of the presidents?
Who?
Seth. Didn't he do...
No.
Oh, I'm thinking of Will Forte. That's who I'm thinking of.
Will Ferrell did W.
Yep.
Which was good. There have been 3 different actors, I think, to play Obama on there.
It's surprising to me that Keenan from Keenan and Kel went to SNL. Don't get me wrong, I love it. I think it's great that a Nickelodeon star went.
It doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
It doesn't surprise me, but I just think it's an interesting evolution of someone who started out on something like Nickelodeon or Disney Channel or something like that to have them come to such prominence on SNL.
The way I see him, though, is he was already doing SNL. It's just he was doing the Junior League edition of all of that.
True.
So, and he was on that for a long time, too, and I think he's wrapping up at the end of this season.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, he's been there for 8-9 years now.
Yep.
So, what are some of your favorite skits that have gone on across the years that stand out the most to you anyway?
Hans and Franz has to be the number one skit as a kid growing up. Every now and then when my mom would let me stay up that late on Saturday to watch it, I always remember those guys. Yeah, that's pretty much my most memorable one. Oh, well, that and Wayne's World. Oh God, I love that stuff.
For me, I watched a lot of SNL in the 90s. One of my favorite bits was Adam Sandler singing, and he had this one character that would always pop up on Weekend Update, Opera Man. And he would just sing the news, and it was just fucking ridiculous. Loved it. Like, I would be in hysterics. Another one that I really liked, this was on a 25th anniversary special. I actually remember taping this. It was Steve Martin singing about King Tut. I thought that was great. Another one I remember, it was a Wayne's World skit, but it was like top 10 babes, and there was just something about Mike Myers and Dana Carvey that just had me going. And almost anything Rob Schneider is in, I used to really, really like. I thought he was funny. I still think he's funny.
I'm surprised he wasn't in the show, actually.
Really? He wasn't? That sucks. I mean, it's not like he's got anything going on, so...
He was also the missing link in Grown Ups 2 out of the group. I'm almost wondering if there was a falling out.
Maybe he's dead.
No, he ain't dead.
No,
He's just
he ain't dead.
stuff.
Rob Schneider will never die.
Rob Schneider is Demolition Man. Some of my favorite skits were I liked the Church Lady from Dana Carvey.
Yep.
I liked the Celebrity Jeopardy is probably one of my all-time favorites.
Yes.
It's just I have them all downloaded. I just love the whole play between Will Ferrell and Daryl Hammond as Alex Trebek and Sean Connery. It's without those two characters, the skit is just flat. You have to have the Sean Connery character in there. Adding Turd Ferguson, a.k.a. Burt Reynolds, a.k.a. Norm Macdonald, just adds that extra layer. They had Jimmy Fallon do it once as like French steward in there, I think it was the same one with Turd Ferguson, the original one, and then I think they had him later on play Adam Sandler, which was funny too. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I think those are a lot of my favorites. I enjoyed Wayne's World, but it was pretty much the same skit over and over.
Well, yeah, but it was kind of cool. I'll say
I like the skit better than I like the movies. Let's put it that way.
Well, the movies, the first movie was okay. The second movie was a little unbelievable. And the only thing, and this isn't a gripe against the SNL 40 special, but I was kind of hoping Noah Vanderhoff would have shown up so they could do the sphincter joke. But, I mean, seeing them again with the wigs on and all that stuff, they look like, seeing them in the Wayne's World garb, Mike Myers and Dana Carvey, it looked horrible. It just did. Them doing the skit was great. Absolutely love that. But just, like, I wish they would have found a way to update Wayne's World and say, hey, we cut our hair 10 years ago or something like that. I don't know.
Well, they were going for a celebration, and I think it worked. Trying to think of some other clips that I really enjoyed. Anytime Phil Hartman showed up, I pretty much liked it.
Mm-hmm.
When he was on the show back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about Phil Hartman.
I was actually in Canada when his wife murdered him.
Jesus.
I only remember that because it was on like a newspaper or something. I don't know why it was such a big deal, like for me to remember that at the time. But I think it was just because it was weird. And I remember watching the show. I was in sixth grade.
I thought of another skit that I really liked. Anything Chris Farley with that Matt Foley character.
Is that the one where he yelled and he had the suspenders and the pants that he'd constantly pull up?
Yeah, we do that and the whole living in a van down by the river.
That's what Melissa McCarthy parodied.
I used to do that impression in my class when I was a kid. People loved it because I was willing to do all the physical comedy that went with it, like throwing myself through things or falling on the ground. I used to love doing that. My God. Chris Farley had some really funny moments on that show, too. Or, here's another one. This skit didn't pop up so often, but it did. Whenever they parody the Home Shopping Network, you get these ridiculous products. There was one, I can't remember what it was, or what the skit was in specific, but I remember the punchline. And it was toys for Christmas for kids that were inappropriate. And it was two things. It was a bag of broken glass and gas-powered sharp thing. And I just thought that was hilarious as hell. My wife having a laugh at gas-powered sharp thing. Because that's what it was on the box art. That's what
remember
it was straight out.
Remember the Five Timers Club?
Yep.
And then it eventually got upgraded later on because then they had all these people that had multiple hosts, and like John Goodman's hosted, like almost a dozen times, and then they've had Tom Hanks, Steve Martin, and Alec Baldwin have pretty much almost tied it up.
Mm-hmm. Watching the special was the first time I'd seen Steve Martin in like 4 years.
He shows up from time to time, like he's done the Wild and Crazy Guys thing with Dan Aykroyd showing up a couple times on the show in recent years.
Mm-hmm.
They even did it when the Night at the Roxbury thing was on there.
Mm.
They interrupted it, and they came up and stole the women that they were going after in one of the skits. To me, it's always funny when you see some of the older actors come back into the modern show, and it kind of throws a monkey wrench in it because they're inserting their characters into the mix of whatever the current skit is. To me, it just made it amazing watching that episode. Just the whole thing, like all the various cast members. I mean, Bill Murray in there, he sang a theme song for Jaws.
Yeah.
I will say this, I did enjoy Bill Murray in Saturday Night Live, and I did enjoy his movies in the 80s and 90s, but his 2000 stuff, I think, suck.
Lost in Translation, man. Give it a watch. It's a serious role, but...
I'll try, but I'm not a huge fan of his. But I will say this: at least his skit had meaning in the show, whereas Chris Rock spent 5 minutes talking up Eddie Murphy for Eddie Murphy just to say, "Oh, it's like going back to high school," and then he says, "All right," he says, and then he just got everybody clapping hands, and he's like, "I thought they'd close this off," and then he started clapping again, and everybody started clapping, and they got him off the stage. Like it was retarded.
It was uncomfortable.
Wasn't he only there for something like 73 seconds or something?
Yeah,
and this is like the first time he's been there in 32 years.
That sucks, because that's
he's
the
like,
show
it
that
shaped
gave
me
him his
so
start.
much. We're like, why didn't a lot of people were complaining online, why doesn't he just do a Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood or do something? I mean, it's not like he's doing anything good anymore anyway.
Yeah. As far as Steve Martin goes, I know he's done stuff since 2005, but honestly, the last movie I saw him in, last two movies, was 2005's Cheaper by the Dozen 2 and 2006's The First Pink Panther.
You haven't watched movies in a long time for him.
I haven't, not for Steve Martin, I haven't, no.
Is he the guy from Cheaper by the Dozen?
Yeah.
Yes.
I like those movies.
Or Father of the Bride, or
Three Amigos.
Three Amigos, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Three Rotten Scoundrels?
Yep.
He's such a great actor, though.
He is.
I really enjoy his stuff.
I loved all the pot shots he gave everybody on the show, too. It was great.
Yeah, I'll say this, the opening for the special was amazing. Because they went through and basically said, oh, well, SNL is for comedians. And it's also, what about actors? What about musicians?
Tom Hanks showed up for that.
Yeah.
And then Alec Baldwin showed up. He says, what if you're both?
Yeah. It was hilarious.
And then they got musicians in there with Paul McCartney. And then they got
Miley Cyrus and Kanye West. And...
I will say this. The music for this episode was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Who was performing?
They had Miley Cyrus, Kanye West, and I give Paul McCartney a pass because he's old.
And plus,
they should have picked some bands that were like that are like kind of legacy bands. Like Miley Cyrus and Kanye West are flashes in the pan in terms of, and what I mean by that is they're so now.
New, yeah.
But if you were to go back and get like say U2 to do something, Paul McCartney, like I said, I would keep him. I'm trying to think who I do as a third.
Well, Paul McCartney was all right. U2, nobody needs them. They can't get rid of them off their iPhone. That's bad enough.
REM, if they did a reunion show.
Yeah, just put Metallica in there.
That would have been amazing.
It would have been the wrong tone though for the show. So
true.
But they could have put any '90s band in there. Really, I mean.
Yeah, Collective Soul isn't doing much these days.
Yeah, it would have been an easy paycheck.
Pearl Jam.
Yeah, a lot of ratings.
They're dead. My wife is in the other room. She's like, "We should have played Queen." I'm like, I think.
But Freddie Mercury's dead. I know.
Yeah. Well, who's the lead singer of Queen now? Like Adam Levine or some shit like that? I don't know.
No, Adam Levine is not the lead singer of Queen. He's the lead singer of Maroon 5.
Well, no, sorry. Well, there's some Adam dude. Like, didn't he do it?
Adam Lambert.
Whatever. Levine, Lambert, kiss my ass. Kiss his ass.
Happy home.
That's right. Where's the Tylenol? Yeah, like, honestly, yeah. Or I'm trying to think of other bands that put on really good performances. I think Offspring did a couple really good shows on there. Weezer, I remember seeing in the 90s. Is Kanye West, especially after all the stupid shit he said of late.
Well, his was just downright, like, disturbing. Because he's laying on the floor, and they're doing, like, a mug shot of him in the camera, and he's upside down, like, his head's upside down because he's laying on his back on the floor. And he's got some kind of weird contact shit in, and it just looks freaking weird.
Clearly, he didn't even want to put the energy to stand up.
Apparently not, but I fast-forwarded. I ended up downloading the episode and fast-forwarding it because I didn't want to sit through his shit. And when Miley Cyrus came on, I flipped channels. But
you know what? I'll say this about Miley Cyrus: some of her music I actually genuinely think is actually kind of catchy.
She was halfway decent in this episode only because she wasn't like singing
weird.
Annoying. She wasn't being weird.
as an artist, I think she's okay. Her personal life is a little bit fucked up, but hey, who am I to judge?
Well, she did get dumped by Hemsworth.
Yeah. You know,
He was like, I'm going back to my home country, see ya.
I'm trying to think of other modern bands they could have got. They could have got Beck, considering they just won a friggin' Grammy. Or Beyonce or something. See, those would have been more relevant.
Well, they made fun of Beyonce.
Well, yeah.
They had Maya Rudolph playing Beyonce in the episode, so I don't...
But that would have been like a great sight gag if she was playing Beyonce was playing someone else. You know she'd give the what the fuck eyes at like some point.
Yeah. Hell, they could have had Madonna come back or something, you know.
Or, I don't know, maybe they could reunite one of the boy bands, like NSYNC or Backstreet Boys, because they were on the show a few times, I think.
Would have been hard. They had Justin Timberlake at the show already.
Yeah, I mean,
so, that would have been cool.
That's the thing. It's like, you know, and that's the whole thing now, where I think it was last year, Apple started doing a whole bunch of commercials with Justin Timberlake and Jimmy Fallon about the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus, and they kind of played off on that. I like Justin and Jimmy doing their play off of each other. As far as them singing, no, not together.
Oh, boo.
That was horrible.
You don't like Jimmy Fallon, though, so...
No, that's not what I said. Yeah, I don't like him on The Tonight Show, but
See?
when he's doing other stuff... Shut up. When he's doing other stuff, there's certain things I do enjoy. I mean, those Apple commercials are just awesome.
But if you like a commercial that much, it's not that awesome.
Anyway. Hell, they could have had New Kids on the Block come back, for crap's sake. They've been going for 30 years.
They're not so new, and they're not kids anymore. Nobody wants them.
Well, neither of the Backstreet Boys and In suck.
Yeah, but only one of them's still famous.
No, actually,
Timberlake.
All three are.
Put an argument out for both, but then again, they just had pretty successful reunion tours. But you know who else they could have brought back? Maybe Britney Spears. I mean, she does her like whole kind of Vegas show, so she's still performing.
Mm-hmm.
But there will never be another 40th anniversary again. So.
Yeah. But like I said, it was kind of cool watching the episode and seeing all the memories come back because of the skit types, and then it was all new material. So I mean, with the old skits, like they even went as far as using the original, visual clips, like for the Wayne's World, and like the rebuilding of the sets had to have been expensive, being that that they didn't keep all of these sets just laying around for the last 20 years, 30 years. So I mean, it was great watching the episode and seeing all the nostalgia pop through it, but having a modern twist.
I just thought of another thing while you were kind of talking about nostalgia. I remember in the 90s they used to have these things, and they were daily affirmations with Jack Tandy or something.
It was God, I remember these.
Yeah, and they were just really offensive or really obvious things.
They were deep thoughts with Jack Hanley.
That's it. I loved those. I thought those were so friggin' funny.
I actually used to go find versions of those, and I used to do it for a podcast, and not in our network, but I used to pre-record them as different characters, whether they were Beast Wars Megatron or Charlie Sheen or I used to read some of those just for fun because it was just downright wrong and disturbing.
Yeah, like those because they were out of friggin' left field too.
Yeah.
Now, I'm trying to remember. Was it Saturday Night Live or was it Mad TV that had the lowered expectations dating? It was just these video vignettes where it's just someone saying...
It was Mad TV.
Okay.
Saturday Night Live, like in the opening, if you ever download this and watch it, like they had... when they had Fallon and Timberlake kind of mocking all the different scenes that would show up in the show, and they would switch to some of the different types of music. Like they even did like the ambiguously gay duo and
fun with real audio.
And the dead presidents and there were just so many wrong like visual clips that were referenced in their video, in their song. It was just great.
Absolutely.
Here's a quote from the Jack Handy Deep Thoughts, just for shits and giggles. If you really want to impress people with your computer literacy, add the words .com to the end of everything you say .com. It's just some of these are just freaking disturbing and wrong, but often when I'm reading a good book, I stop and thank my teacher. That is, I used to until she got an unlisted number. Oh, these are just bad. I'm skipping past the rest of this. So if you could build a dream crew of SNL from any of the decades, who would your like top 5 or 10 be?
Bill Murray, Steve Martin, Chris Farley, Mike Myers, Adam Sandler, Rob Schneider, Tina Fey, the Norm Macdonald, and what was the other guy's? Colin Quinn?
Quinn?
Yeah, Colin Quinn. And finally, on my show, my guest host would be Channing Tatum. And musical guests, REM. That's who I would do. That's my dream show.
For me, it would have to be, just to have the cast back, it would be Steve Martin, Billy Crystal, Chevy Chase. If he gets his head out of his donkey ass, Eddie Murphy. Mike Myers and Dana Carvey.
Just for the record, Steve Martin was never a cast member.
I know, but I would have him as a cast member.
I was just saying, just for the record, he's not. But he was on it often enough. He could have been.
No.
I of course would have Sandler. I'd have Tina Fey, Jimmy Fallon, Will Ferrell, Norm Macdonald, Chevy Chase, Phil Hartman, Steve Martin, Dana Carvey, and what's his name? Can't remember his name right now. It's really gonna bother me now. Bill Hader.
Yes. Completely forgot about him.
I thought it was great during the special too, because during the Weekend Update clip, they had Edward Norton come out and play Stefan, which is the partner of Seth Meyers when he was on the news desk type of thing, and would kind of do the New York City stuff that's going on. And Edward Norton was doing it, and then he screwed up part of the clip or whatever, and Bill Hader comes in character and corrects him and shows him how to do it right. And then they had Seth Meyers in there literally for like 10, 15 seconds getting bashed by Bill Hader's character. But Bill Hader was in a lot of the episode, and so was Kristen Wiig. But they've been almost in this entire season, just kind of, even though they're not cast members, they've just kind of shown up. So, getting to some of last week's feedback, switching gears, we said, what game would you like to see come to animation or live-action TV? Brian Riviere says, I'd like to see Mass Effect become a TV series. We need another good sci-fi series again.
Fuck yeah.
Now, Mike, do you know anything about the Mass Effect series?
Really? I have an N7 logo on my right arm. What do you think?
Whoa, that's news to me. So what's the gist about that? Because like I'm not familiar with it.
Okay, basically there's a galaxy of aliens, like shit. There's the Quarians, there's the Asari, basically this huge galactic civilization, and you play as a character named Commander Shepard, usually John or Jane Shepard, depending on what you want to do. And you are to become the first human Spectre selected by the Council on the Citadel. The Citadel is basically the center of the galactic government. The Council is all the alien races, how they govern the galaxy. Humanity has just been accepted into the galactic civilization. Basically, there was a war, whatever, a lot of backstory. And you are to be humanity's representative to the Council. Basically, they ask you to go do something. You go do it. You're the highest authority. Basically, you're like James fucking Bond, right? Then it's discovered there's these bad guys from dark space that exist outside our galaxy called the Reapers, and they come into the galaxy every 50,000 years and cleanse it of intelligent life. Reason being, so the cycle of life, evolution, whatever, can begin anew. So smaller species that aren't as advanced have a chance to evolve to spacefaring civilizations, blah, blah, blah. And it's up to you to stop them, basically. You kill one Reaper, which takes the combined might of every ship in the area of the Citadel, so a huge armada to take down one of these things. One of these things is like 2 or 3 kilometers long and tall. Big motherfuckers. In the second game, you're fighting against these guys called the Collectors, who are like these aliens that kidnap random colonists from planets to experiment on. Turns out they're a slave race controlled by the Reapers. In the third one, the Reapers decide to full out invade. So instead of having one Reaper to deal with, you're now dealing with like thousands of them. And considering it takes an entire planet's firepower to even dent these things, the galaxy's fucked, for lack of a better phrase. So what they have to do is gather these materials to create this item left behind by this other civilization that has a chance to kill the Reapers, called the Crucible. So it's up to you to unite a galaxy of all these civilizations that have huge problems with each other. Like there's this group called the Solarians, or like these lizard people, and they went to this other planet called Tachanka, where basically they sterilized an entire race of people because they breed so much, but they're also very they're very warlike. So like, well, to save the galaxy, we're going to sterilize you. So 1 out of every 1,000 births will survive. So imagine trying to get these two to work together and stuff like that. So you have to basically unite, like I said, the entire galaxy against this threat. And then you see how it all plays out in Mass Effect 3. It's probably my favorite sci-fi series of like all time. Like even more than Star Wars and Star Trek. I love Mass Effect. Like those games with the 360, PS3, and PC are some of the best RPGs I've ever played, and they will go by so fast because you will be so absorbed into it. Plus, every decision you make means something. Like you can piss someone off, it may not have a payoff until the third game where you help someone. Same thing. It's really cool. It was such an innovation for its time. Mass Effect 4 is coming out in like a couple years, and it's already looking to be really friggin' cool. So, yeah, you should most definitely check it out.
Cool. I will. So, next, Brad Lincoln says, I have a strong feeling this whole, because we were talking about part of the Joker thing, this whole Joker storyline in Gotham is nothing but a big red herring, and it will turn out to be nothing. My theory is Fox is only keeping the show around because they fear a one-season failure will hurt their relationship with DC, and fans will be crying Firefly all over again. It boggles my mind that Gotham is getting 2 seasons, but Almost Human got canceled.
Man, I forgot about that show, Jesus.
I think I watched 6 episodes of it, and then I just didn't care anymore.
It sucks because it was such a cool idea, but it ultimately became a lot of who gives a shit.
I think the story was just kind of weak. I think the concept was cool, but the story was weak.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, like, how do you carry this forward, so to speak?
It just turned into another cop procedural, and I didn't give a rip. I mean, yeah, you had like a Data-like character in it, but again, it really wasn't that spectacular to me.
It sucks. I've actually slowed down on watching Gotham. I haven't watched anything since the mid-season premiere. I've heard it's gotten really inconsistent.
It's gotten freaking weird, honestly. Like, I like it, but there's so much going on between all the different villains that are slowly taking aim that it's gotten to be kind of a tiresome.
I've been reading some of the reviews on IGN, so at least I know what's going on in the show. And evidently they've turned Barbara Gordon into somebody you don't damn well like.
Yeah, now,
she's gone or something, or
she's gone, but she's like sleeping with one of the other detectives.
She's sleeping with Montoya. She was gone for a while. She went back to her parents' house, and then she was gone again, and now this week she came back. The one thing we got to remember, though, guys, is that this is Barbara Keene. This is not Jim's daughter. This is his wife that will eventually have the Barbara Gordon Batgirl we all know and love. Well, most of us. You know, so I think it's creepier that Gordon has a relationship with Leslie Tompkins and he calls her Lee. I think that's a little more disturbing than the whole Barbara Gordon thing.
I just don't like how they've turned her into such a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, someone so unlikable.
It just... And I'll admit, the show has been slow going. There have been times where I'd never wanted to see some of the characters ever again. And then they go and do something that makes me think, oh, well, maybe they'll turn around in season 2. I think the problem the Gotham producers are having is that they want to get the Batman fans, and in order to get the Batman fans, they have to pull these red herrings like Jerome, like all this other stuff, like Ivy Pepper or Selena Cat, and it's like...
Now, I will say this.
Eggs are not enough to satisfy us.
No. Yeah, but I will say this. I have not seen this week's episode yet.
Oh, you have?
I probably will by the time this airs, but I have not seen it yet, so I don't know exactly what goes on with the Jerome character.
It's...
You've watched it?
I've watched it. It's good for what it is, but they don't come out and say that he is who we think he is.
See, if they did that, that's a major fucking mistake. If it is who it's supposed to be. I think part of the problem is with this show is the time period chains them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they're stuck with 12-year-old Bruce, and so it means that pretty much all of the villains we're getting are ones that are going to be either dead or old as dirt later.
Well, it's like they're just criminals. They're not super villains. They're not going to be, like, you're not going to have the giant Penny from Two-Face, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to you are getting street-level crime at best. Sure, you had the episode where they had that experimental Venom thing. Okay, fair enough, that's super villainy, whatever. But it's protection rackets and extortion and drug deals. Like,
well,
if I wanted that, I can watch fucking CSI.
If outside of this week's episode, which is called the Blind Man something or other, I forget what the actual name of it is.
Or something?
Something like that. The past 2 episodes they were pretty much a part 1, part 2, even though it doesn't say part 1, part 2, and it's dealing with the Scarecrow, but it's Dr. Crane and his son Jonathan. So it's basically giving you an origin for Jonathan Crane before he becomes the Scarecrow. So 2 weeks, in the last 2 weeks before the Jerome episode, which is this week, that is what happened. And It kind of works. It was kind of all right. It wasn't like the whole crime thing is still there. The whole, mob war is still there, but it's centered on the whole Scarecrow character. I think with this week's episode, what they were trying to do was basically give all of us a love letter to characters we know.
Please stay with the show, please.
Kinda.
Promise good stuff is coming.
I won't spoil the Jerome stuff, Steve, but do you mind if I say where this happens?
Yeah, go ahead.
They bring in Haley Circus. And bringing in Haley Circus, they bring in John Grayson. But within the circus, they have John Grayson and the Grayson family, and they have Mary something or other in her family, and it's basically a Romeo and Juliet story. So in order for Dick Grayson's parents to get together, they have to get over the fact that their families hate each other.
This sounds kind of stupid.
It was a nice way to bring in the... It was a nice way... It wasn't nice. It was an interesting way to bring in the parents of Dick Grayson without having to say, hey, where's a young Chris O'Donnell that we can bring in and have Batman Forever redone. It was a good episode. It was pretty... The Jerome stuff is interesting, I'll put it to you that way. And I don't know if they're going to point him in the direction that we all think they're going to point him in. I just don't know. I don't
Honestly,
know if
I think this show needs, at the end of the season 1, they need to advance the storyline 5 years.
Oh, absolutely.
Time jump.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
and honestly, have a full-scale mob war. At least this way, if you want to introduce Bruce older, maybe learning martial arts, deciding he's had enough of this shit, then you could do something with it.
Oh,
12-year-old Bruce isn't going to be doing anything except running really, really cleverly.
Well, here's the thing, and I don't think they're going to do this, but because I think they're pretty much already in production on season 2. But what if season 2, so we don't lose the actor that plays Bruce, because I think he plays Bruce very well. We don't lose him. You could age the show 5 years, but show us like little glimpses of a flashback and have young Bruce, show his journey that way in
pull an arrow.
Well, yeah, I guess.
In essence,
that's. I don't. It would be better in Gotham than it is in Arrow. It's one thing about Arrow that I am not liking.
I really think Gotham is pretty weak compared to Arrow and
it is.
Flash.
Oh, yeah. Flash blow. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people aren't going to have the same opinion. I'm sorry. Flash blows both of them out of the water. I love Flash.
Oh yeah.
Flash is so fun. Arrow is fun, but it's kind of a depressing show.
It's meant to be.
I know it's meant to be, but it's gotten so out of whack in season 3.
Like, here's dark and depressing for the sake of being dark and sad.
Yep.
Yeah. So, moving on.
Oh, there was also that one piece of feedback that said I'm basically an idiot.
Wait, where
I
is
agree
this?
with. The one guy was saying the person who directed The Hurt Locker didn't do Twilight. I did get the names mixed up. He does have a very valid point when it comes to Angelina Jolie. She's not the same character in every movie. Just the problem is I see her as a person more than I see the character. It's kind of like George Clooney, in my opinion. George Clooney's a great actor, but I see George Clooney, not Danny Ocean, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The actor's bigger than the role he's playing. Certainly, he can move past it. Same with Angelina Jolie. Girl Interrupted in 20... was it 20? No. Yeah, Girl Interrupted was friggin' awesome, and I loved her in Hackers and even the Tomb Raider movies. But I think her personal life overshadows some of her acting career, I think. But hey, if she can knock Marvel girl, or what is it? The Marvel movie that we were talking about. Fuck, I can't remember. Is it Captain Marvel? Yeah.
Yeah.
I really hope she does something awesome with it. I mean, if we get an awesome female-centric superhero movie that makes us forget about Elektra and Supergirl, I'm all fucking for it, man.
Yeah.
So that guy, I thank you for pointing out my flaws, and awesome. Much respect.
Yep. But other than that, I think that's about it.
Yep.
So, anything you guys want to pimp out before we go?
Well, I'm launching a new show this week. Probably going to be recording on Thursday. It's going to be my RPG show, which I've tentatively calling Botched Roll, which will be my recollections of my RPG stories and stuff that I've played or done, or basically a chance to talk about stuff like Shadowrun, Star Wars, Call of Cthulhu, and whatnot. And hopefully going to do that a few times a month. And I'm going to record the pilot episode this week.
Awesome.
Sounds good. As far as stuff I've got going on, I am prepping for the second annual Marvelous March inside the pull bag. This year we're kind of going outside the realm of what we did last year. Last year we basically covered a lot of classic Marvel stories like Planet Hulk, Man Out of Time for Captain America, some classic Spidey stories and stuff like that. This year we're going to include original Marvel Comics, Transformers Classics. We're going to do Avengers and X-Men Access. We're going to do Superior Iron Man numbers 1 through 5. And then to close it out, we're going to talk about the return to Marvel for Star Wars with Star Wars number 1, Darth Vader number 1, and Princess Leia number 1. So that's what's going on for the pull bag in March. Pixels and the Animation's going strong. We're in the middle of the Mega Man reviews. We're actually going to take a quick break on that and do Wreck-It Ralph for episode 50. Yeah, I mean, just go over to geekcastradio.com. We've got plenty of stuff over there.
As for myself,
Oh, I guess we're doing a future Imperfect this week, Steve. At some point.
yeah, hopefully Thursday. Which would have been yesterday. After this comes out. GCRN Awards will be out shortly. Which I have to say was pretty interesting seeing what won. Some of it a bit confusing at how it managed to win, but again, it's... I fully expect backlash in the comments for that one. And I can honestly say I didn't have anything to do with it. So, but yeah, so I look forward to that. So I guess the question for the episode is, if you could choose your own Saturday Night Live cast, who would you choose and why?
And who is your guest host, and who is your musical guest?
Which I did not choose.
Which I think would be kind of cool. So think about that, guys.
My guest host would be Jim Carrey, but that's
Jim
because
Carrey now or Jim Carrey 90s?
You know, I would say now because he actually meshes with SNL better now than if he would have done back then. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like some of his stuff earlier on, but I think he meshes really well with this generation of SNL. So, I think he's at the right age to actually kind of do SNL because he's not as... I think his personality just fits better. He was too raw and too comedic and actually good at being a movie actor back in the 90s to hinder him with going to SNL. So,
Mm-hmm. Plus, he was predominantly on Living Color.
Yeah, which was basically SNL.
Not really. In Living Color,
It's an edgier,
yeah,
an edgier version.
On the edge.
In Living Color,
Dark Side.
Oh, okay. You said
Only
Dark Side.
D-Cloud, man.
Steve
Homie
said
don't
Dark.
play that.
Steve said Dark Side, so I can say this. In
Was
Living
Mad
Color,
TV the bastard child of the two?
yes, Mad
Yes.
TV. Mad TV is the bastard child, but in Living Color is the urban version of SNL.
That's
It was good,
an
though.
accurate description, actually.
It was good, though.
It was.
It
It
was.
was
Like, there were
damn
some
good.
great skits on that one.
Yep.
Those guys were
Absolutely.
all hilarious.
Fireman Bill. Let me show you something.
Yeah, Fire
Marshal Bill. Yeah, the SNL episode with Jim Carrey in it actually was pretty good because they had all the cast mimicking his film and previous
I remember
characters.
that skit. That I thought was pretty
They had
funny.
Cecily Strong doing Fire Marshal Bill.
The funny thing is, because I've caught a few. I forget. I forget which channel it's on. It might be. It might be on Discovery Family, which used to be the hub. I've caught a few reruns of In Living Color, and the strangest thing is, back then he was going by James Carey.
He wanted to be a legitimate actor.
That's all changed.
Surprisingly,
Chicken fart jokes and vagina dust.
yeah,
How he's grown.
The honest trailer is so accurate of that film.
I almost puked at that because it made parts in my stomach go ew.
She's like, "How do you like those giblets, Sonny?"
Oh.
He's like, "This isn't a turkey, and you're not my grandson."
Wait a minute, what film is this for?
This is Dumb and Dumber 2.
Oh, God.
She says, "It's down there next to the giblets." And he's like, "This isn't a turkey." And she's like, "And you're not my grandson." And then that's when
And
he
I'm
pulls
all
out his
for
hand
old
and blows
people
dust into...
celebrating their sexuality, but Jesus Christ. No. Pay porn websites for that, and I ain't paying.
And you look at some pretty freaky shit.
Exactly, and I like my pornography, but Jesus. Draw the line there.
Yeah.
Anyway, now that this has gotten awkward and sad, can we please move on to end the show?
Alrighty, so... You can get a hold of us in the following ways. You can call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. You can email us, feedback at geekcastradio.com. You can visit the episode post on the website. You can get a hold of us on Twitter, at geekcastradio, #alteredgeek. My Twitter handle is at SCP21, and yours are, sirs?
TF2 and Mike.
Birdman Dodd on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Social whore.
That's right.
So,
Hey,
as
I'm
always...
more popular than Steve Gutenberg, and I feel good about that.
That's pretty sad. You hear that, Gutenberg? It's a war,
Exactly, you
and
hear
Dodd
that?
is winning. I'll kneel before Dodd.
That's right. I review video games, Mahoney. What do you got?
Well, I used to drive police cars. Now I'm a washed-up actor.
Serve drinks at the anniversary party for SNL.
I work at the local VFW hall.
At the Sizzler, they pay me well.
I have flair.
I'm the manager.
He's working at the Sizzler that Donald goes to from Happy Gilmore.
There you go. Hey,
That's horrible.
Gutenberg, I'm fucking on to you.
On a nicer note, though, I did enjoy him in Police Academy.
Yes.
Till they replaced him, and then with a guy who was supposed to be him but was an idiot. So, speaking of all kneel before Dodd, I was watching, this side note before we close, but I was watching King of the Nerds, Season 3.
Yeah.
It's actually surprisingly not as bad as I thought.
Season 1 was kind of horrible.
Season 3 was kind of interesting. I just watching it, like, I mean, it's your typical reality television show.
Yeah.
Kind of gives me the, it's like an amalgamation of different ones, like kind of putting it together, but it's for nerd-ish type stuff. So, but there's some stuff in it that I know there's no snowball's chance in hell that I would do well with, like the engineering and building shit. But like a lot of the trivia, I'm sitting there watching it, I'm like, you idiot, when they're getting stuff wrong.
Like, how the fuck do you not know that sort of thing?
Yeah, I know. I'm sitting here just like getting mad at it, and I'm like, and this is why I should have been on there.
Like, they actually contacted me to be in that season, but the physicality I could not do. Like, I would have gotten my ass kicked, and I don't think they want to see a 400-pound plus man get carried out on a friggin' stretcher.
Hey, they did have a guy about that size on there for the season, so.
I'm much cooler. Cooler than
I know.
Steve Gutenberg.
I don't know who the hell this guy is. He thinks he's cool, but he's not.
I had a couple of my friends audition to be on it. Mickey Paradis, 8-Bit Mickey, Mars Girl from that guy with the glasses was very heavily in contention.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that show, if you can apply for it, do it when it comes up. If it comes up again.
I did for this season.
They passed you over?
Yes, I was sad. I didn't get a response. I did send all the right stuff in. I didn't get a response, so I was sad. But what do you get if you actually win?
Money, fame.
Money's good.
Hooker.
I'll do without the hooker. I'll take the other two.
Oh, you fucking kill the hooker and sell her like organs. Black market, man. Think ahead.
So you triple your money.
Recycle. What the hell, man?
So you wouldn't have to give that back for taxes.
Hey, there you go. Think ahead, Steve. Human trafficking.
If they do, I'll try again. But it must have been not extreme enough for them.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure I got picked because I'm like Mr. Brony and very vulgar. I'm pretty sure that's why I got contacted. But yeah, honestly, do TV at least once in your life. It's tremendously fun.
The only difference is now I'm getting experience with acting in class, so that's kind of, I'll at least know to go nutsoid on it next time. But yeah, just had to throw that tidbit in. I still haven't watched the 4th episode of season 3 yet. I watched the first 3 and I was like, best part so far is they had Tara Strong, but
Twilight Sparkle.
Yeah, they had her in the episode of like 2 or 3 or something as a judge.
It was episode 2. She was a judge along with Yaya Han.
Yeah, and then they still lost.
Yeah,
which is great. So, anyhow, so as always, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks. See you next time.
Whee!
Hey, it's us in stupid wigs.
If you're in tonight's audience, it means you did it. You're an SNL great.
Congratulations. You know, there's been a lot of classic moments here over the years.
Yeah, a lot of classic moves. But right now, we're gonna sing a little song about just one. Listen up. It's the night of the show, your sketch is killing. The audience is having the time of their lives. When suddenly it hits you, a case of the giggles, and you know that you can't hold it inside. And that's when you break. Let the smile cover your face. That's when you break. The audience is eating it up. That's when you break. Sometimes a sketch just ain't working. You're giving it your all, but it isn't enough. The jokes are falling flat, and your palms are all sweaty. But you know a trick they're gonna love. And that's when you break. That's how you save the day. That's when you break. Pretend like it was a mistake, Bill.
You dude.
Love you too.
Aww.
What you gonna do when the sketch ain't working? What you gonna do when you gotta laugh? What you gonna do when you're just too funny? Feel so wrong to hold it back.
Little known fact, Lorne loves it when you break.
Oh yeah, he goes nuts for it. Lorne is the best.
Lorne! Who's that checking out the set in between commercials? Lorne!
Who's hanging backstage nursing a glass of white vino?
Lorne! You know this dude is an American treasure.
His legacy will last forever.
Lorne!
Now back
that's not true.
We didn't smile in every sketch.
Wasn't that kind of our thing?
We never undermined a piece.
Every time we did.
And we also made a movie that bombed.
Why would you bring that up?
But those are the breaks.
Oh, okay, I get it. I'm gonna start singing again.
Check out these classic breaks. They remind us of the people we love. And the wonderful times we share. You're simply the best.
That's what it is.
I knew I recognized it.